this is Cavera, and I wanted to do a specific video about reading chords when you're playing the banjo. Some things might come up that might confuse you, it might throw you, and it's not that hard. We can simplify things, and we can I can show you some tricks just to keep it easy so you can keep reading the chart. Now, as a rhythm section player, as a good band banjo player, the most important thing to me, the number one thing for me, is keeping time. So, which is, we had the whole video about practicing with a metronome. That should be your goal, to keep a good, steady time. This is a term I learned some time ago, but when you're playing changes, sometimes you see a change on a chart that you're not familiar with, and rather than try and sit there and decipher it, you can play what they call a New York change. And no, I'm not trying to slander anyone that lives in New York or anything, but this is the term I heard actually from someone on the East Coast. You hold down the neck and you just play sound, and that is called a New York change. Now the nice thing about that, if you're reading and you're like, oh no, I don't know how to play an A minor 7 flat 5, but it's only for one beat. There goes my pick. It's only for one beat. You're just going to play noise. Just keep that time going. I cannot stress this enough. The minute you start to try to decipher that weird chord change and figure it out, then your time gets slowed down, your brain gets bogged down. We are in the heat of battle. We are on stage. We are playing with the band. We just have to keep that time going. So I feel like keeping the time going is your priority, even over playing the right change. Now, having said that, of course, you want to learn what all these weird changes are and nice changes are and what they mean and how to use them. So I want to take an example of this song, After You've Gone, in the Firehouse fake book. And as I mentioned on a previous video, they're going to have this for you to download. In fact, they have the whole Firehouse Jazz Band fake book for you to use as a resource. So that's excellent. This is a pretty straightforward chart. There's nothing really too wonky where there's B flats, there's G minors, all pretty straightforward triads until we get to the chorus. We get down in the second to the last line of the chorus. You'll see there's a lyric that says, someday when you grow lonely, and on the word lonely, you'll see a C minor 7 flat 5. So that might be a weird one for some people. I don't know. What we can do is we can, since we have time right now and we're not in the heat of battle and we don't have to worry about this, we can play a C minor, and then you're going to have to find the fifth and flat your fifth. Well, it's a C minor 7 flat 5. So let's just do this. Let's spell it out. Okay, this will get us going in the right direction. So C minor 7, we know what a C minor is, right? C, E flat, G, that's our C minor. C minor 7 tells us to go C, E flat, G, and add a B flat on it. C minor 7 flat 5, we're going to flat that fifth, so now we go C, E flat, G flat, B flat. So when I see one of these chords on the banjo, my trick for this particular chord is to not play the root. And I'll show you what I mean. So if we're playing C, there's my C minor, but if I want a C minor 7 flat 5, that's just going to leave me with E flat, G flat, and B flat. So that's an E flat minor. So if I play an E flat minor and the bass player's playing the C, then we have the full chord there. The banjo only having 4 strings, sometimes you leave one of the notes of the chord out, and it's okay. So when I see a C minor 7 flat 5 or any minor 7 flat 5 chord, usually I just think up a minor third and play the minor. Now, of course, you can learn some different voicings for the specific C minor 7 flat 5. If you Google that, you'll find thousands of them, and some will sound great to you and some will sound awful to you. But this is just my little trick for when you're reading fast. If you want to hit that C minor 7 flat 5, go up a minor third, C to E flat minor, play your E flat minor. Hopefully the bass player has the C, and we're good to go. On this Firehouse chart, that's the only really weird thing that you might run into. But I'm going to take the same song and I want to show you. This is from a more modern fake book. Same tune, After You've Gone. This is a more modern version of it. So the first chord that they have on this chart is called F triangle 7. So what is F triangle 7? That's weird. The triangle means it's a major 7. Instead of your regular Fs, your regular F7, you know, which would be F, A, C, E flat. There you go. F, A, C, E flat. Work brain. But the major 7 would actually be F, A, C with an E instead of the E flat. So that's nice. Sounds pretty. That's just kind of a different way of trying the song. But I just want you to be aware if you see the triangle 7, they want that major 7th. So I just took a familiar F shaped for me, and I know my F is there, so I just take it down a half step, and that gives me my major 7. You won't see those triangle chords a lot in the earlier jazz charts, but if you run across something like that's what that is. Now the second chord on this page says F-6. What does a dash mean? Dash is another way of saying minor. So they want an F major 7 to the F minor 6. Now, so there's my F minor. I know, there. I'm just gonna keep flattening that note till I get the 6 in it. But it sounds a lot more modern if you do it this way. So another way to do an F minor 6, if you want to, you can just play an F minor, because the most important notes of that chord are F, A flat, C. The 6 would be a D, which is why I grabbed the D down there. But if I were just reading this in the heat of battle, I would probably just play an F minor. Usually in these modern charts or in different charts, when they have the 6, it's because there's a 6 in the melody note. And if you're looking at this chart, you'll see the line, "and left me crying," the word "and" has a D in it. So they're probably calling it an F minor 6 because of that D. We also have later in the chart, you'll see there's towards the end, at the end of the 4th line, where it says, "You'll want me only," there's an A-7, so that's A minor 7, right? Again, if you just want to play an A minor, it will work fine. These are just things I do when I have to sight read something really fast. As long as you don't play a major chord against a minor chord or vice versa. If you look at a chord quality like A minor 7, you can play an A minor and you'll be safe. Or A minor 6, you play an A minor, you'll be safe. If you see something that says C7, flat 5, sharp 9, augmented 13, whatever, all the gobbledygook, the thing you have to focus on is the meat of the chord. And if you see a C and a 7 followed by a whole bunch of other racket, usually if you just play a C triad even, you're safe. So the reason composers or people that do these charts often use all those extensions is usually it has something to do with the melody, or they're trying to create a nice line or something to that effect. But for just sight reading and trying to get through something quickly, if we play the most important part of that chord, which would just be a C triad, we're okay. And then you can use your own time later to practice and find out some of those chords. Figure them out. You can Google them, or you can sit down and spell them out and then find out where the notes are on the banjo and figure out how to translate that to what you're doing. That works too. So that's kind of a more modern version of After You've Gone, but you'll see that with the dashes sometimes. The I-reel charts we used earlier, they often use the dash to signify minor 2. Or they might write C and a little baby M, and that means C minor 2. You probably know that. The last thing I wanted to look at too was this chart again for Anything Goes, because again, this is a Broadway show, so there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of complicated chords, and you have to read this stuff fairly quickly. So the first thing I'd like to talk about, let's just go to the opening line again. It says, okay, we have the A minor staccato. I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3. On the third bar, you see there's a D flat minor 6 at the end of that. Again, if you just want to do D flat minor, you're okay. The very end of the line, bar 5, you'll see you're going to change chords every beat. Well, that's a lot of work. But it says A flat minor followed by G with a little circle / B flat. So G with a little circle means G diminished, and you should learn your diminished and augmented chords. You should have a good major chord, a good minor chord, good diminished chord, good augmented chord. But when it says G little circle for G diminished / what did I say it was, B flat, all that means is if there's a slash and another thing under it, that means there's a B flat in the root of the chord. Now, if you want to be super fancy and play your G diminished and put a B flat in the root, you can. But usually for those, that's the bass player's job or the piano player's left hand, as long as they cover that. Whenever I see a chord with a slash and something underneath it, I disregard what's under the slash. I can be fancy and voice it that way, but usually the bass player's got it. That's their job to read those. Usually because it's creating a nice line. If we look at this one again, it goes A flat minor, G diminished / B flat, B flat diminished, or I'm sorry, B flat / C flat, and then to another A flat minor. So there's basically saying bass players need to play A flat, B flat, C flat, A flat. They are wanting that specific line. That does not concern us. We are playing on our banjos. We are playing A flat minor, G diminished, B flat minor, A flat minor. We're good to go. Let me see if there's anything else I can think about these weird chords. These Broadway charts, you'll also see a lot of the A triangle 7s and things like that. That's your A major 7. You'll see 13th chords. There's a whole section here on the second page where it has a whole string of E13, F13, E13, F13, probably dictating something in the music. But again, if you just want to play your regular triad, E, F, E, F, E, F, you're okay. You can get away with that. So, there's one more thing in here I see that I wanted to talk about. Sometimes instead of writing a chord C minor 7 flat 5, you'll see a C and a little circle like the diminished circle with a slash through it, and that means it's a half diminished. So if you see the letter C and the circle with a slash, that is the same as a C minor 7 flat 5. People just have different ways of notating these things on the music. The best thing you can do is just use your ears. So if you're reading a chart and you see a chord and you don't know what it is, go ahead and play that New York change. Use your ears, and when it comes back around, you can try to listen to the band and hear what it needs to be, or you can ask the piano player, or you can try something and see if it fits. But if you use your ears the first time and play a New York change, that'll at least give you a fighting chance to figure it out the next time around. So all these special chords they put in the music are really fun, and they're worth sitting down and working out. But that's something you can do on your own time. If you're sitting in a band and someone puts a piece of sheet music in front of you and you have to read it, just remember the most important thing is keep your time going and play the chords to the best of your ability. But you can do some little cheats and some little tricks just to get through the song. And then once you've read it down and gotten through it, then you can say, okay, now I can go home and practice it and figure out what some of these chords really need to be. Or now I can, I heard it was mostly a major chord when they were doing that weird funky thing. If I play a major chord, it'll fit okay. Use your ears. You can decide. That's your best friend. And keep that time going. That's the most important thing. That's your job. All right. Thank you very much. Take a look at some of the other videos in the series. And you don't even have to look at my videos. There's a lot of great material there for all the instrumentalists. And I know Bill Dindal did a whole series on playing solos. So if you're interested in that, please check his videos out. And I hope you enjoy. Thank you so much.